What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So Quinn, this is the League of Legends champion I'm going to be covering today. She's obviously from Demacia, and Demacian champions are what I'm doing at the moment. Now in terms of content, I'll be going through her bio, I'll be reviewing her skins, I'll be going through her actual login theme, I'll be covering the story, but I don't think she's got any individual trailers dedicated to her. And also her game spotlight seems to be kind of old, maybe 7 or 8 years old, so I might not go through that. I might review the abilities on the League of Legends page, and then I might go through the actual spotlight from Magikarp's flight. We shall see. Anyways, first of all, let's start off with the bio. Let's go. Right, Quinn, Demacia's wings. Quinn and her brother Caleb were born in Uendale, a remote mountainous hamlet in northeastern Demacia. It was a thriving village of hunters and farmers, protected by rangers who patrolled the wilderness and drove off any dangerous creatures wandering down from the high peaks. Okay. When the twins were still young, King Jarvan III visited Uendale on a tour of his kingdom. Quinn and Caleb thrilled at the pageantry of the knights in his entourage, resplendent in their gleaming armour. Okay. Their father, a weaponsmith in the village, later saw them pretending to bravely defend the lands themselves, and fashioned simple weapons for them to play with. But as they grew, they spent every moment they could outdoors with their mother, a warden among the local rangers. She taught them how to survive in the wilds, how to trap beasts, and most importantly, how to fight. Quinn and Caleb became a formidable team. With her keen eye for trails, his skill for baiting their prey, her aim with a bow, and his prowess with a hunting spear. But one expedition ended in tragedy. I've got a sneaky feeling Caleb is gonna die. Let's find out. Quinn and Caleb, now rangers in Uendale, were hired to accompany a party of nobles from the capital as they hunted a giant tuskivore, a predator known for its thick hide, long horns, and ferocious temperament. But they failed to kill the creature outright, and the wounded beast turned on them. There you go. The twins were quick to intervene, with Caleb's spear putting out one of the monster's eyes, and Quinn diving off the tuskivore with her arrows. But not before it gored Caleb with its deadly horns. There you go. The leader of the party, Lord Barrett Buvel, helped Quinn bury her brother near where he had fallen, but all could see his death had broken her. Unable to move on, she would return to the gravesite, and the joy she had felt as a ranger began to dim. Her prowess in the wilderness waned, and she started making mistakes. She missed easy tracks, and her aim was off. A few months later, Lady Lastra Buvel visited Quinn's family. The noblewoman was grateful that Quinn had saved her husband's life and asked what she could do to repay them. Quinn could think of nothing. She thanked the Lady Buvel and politely turned her away. A year to the day after Caleb's death, Quinn returned to the grave, as she had often did. Lost in grief, she didn't hear the approaching tuskivore, its one eye marking it as the very beast that had slain her brother. The monster charged. Quinn fired arrow after arrow, but to no avail, and she knew it was her doom. Just then, a majestic bird swooped him, an Ozrite eagle, a breed long thought extinct. The eagle's talons and beak ripped bloody gouges across the tuskivore's face, but the creature was resilient, its horns tearing into the bird's wing. Quinn fired her last arrow at the monster as the monster charged her again. This time her aim was true, and the shaft flew right down its gullet, felling the creature in a heartbeat. Though the eagle was injured, she approached with caution, for such birds had been known as vicious and untamable hunters, but instead she saw in his eyes a deep well of kingship. Quinn bound the eagle's broken pinion and returned to Uendale with him. She named him Valor, and the bond that formed between them rekindled the fire in Quinn's heart. Once more her thoughts turned to saving Demacia in battle, as a knight. Her mother reminded her that this would require sponsorship, and that was far beyond the family's humble means. But her father urged her to seek out Lady Buvel, makes sense, who had already offered recompense for services to her noble family in the capital. With his help, Quinn crafted a weapon worthy of a knight, a finely wrought Reaper crossbow capable of firing multiple bolts with a single pull of the trigger. Quinn and Valor then set out for the great city together. Lester Buvel gladly vouched for Quinn, even paying a personal visit to High Marshal Tiana Crownguard to petition for her. Within a week, Quinn took her oaths as a Ranger Knight of Demacia. Now, having brought renowned to the ranges of Ewendale, she prefers to remain out in the hinterlands, never staying within the walls of the outlying towns for long. Quinn rarely pulls rank with the rangers who report to her, instead deferring to their specialised skills and experience in the field. A stark departure from the rigid hierarchy of the rest of the military. Quinn and Valor have ventured far and wide in service of Demacia, risking journeys into the Freljord and deep within Noxian-held territory. And with each mission, their unique bond has helped ensure the security of the kingdom's borders for generations to come. Right, okay. That's pretty good. Good introduction to Quinn. We get to find out, obviously, her backstory with her brother and how she met Valor. In an ironic way, the death of her brother was the only reason she met Valor. But it's nice how it turned out in the end. She's obviously got a bond with this bird. And yeah, let's see how we get on in the next one. So, Quinn, Demacia's wings. Roll as a marksman and difficulty is moderate. Let's go through the skins. So she has 1, 2, 3, 4. She's got 5 additional skins, 6 in total. Okay, so let's talk initially about her base skin. Base skin is pretty cool. I like how it shows Valor there perched on her arm as well. And you can see the weapon that her father's made for her. The machine gun crossbow. But yeah, that's cool. Decent base skin, let's call it. So the next one, Phoenix. Right, I like that one. I like that one. I like the look of Valor, and I definitely like the look of Quinn there as well. Yeah, any redhead in general, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, that looks pretty good there as well. Kind of got a little bit of a pentacle vibe to it. But yeah, she looks good, and so does the bird. I like that one. Ward Scout Quinn. Right, got that Fjord vibe to it. The icy look, that's nice. No, I like that one as well. A little bit different, a lot different to that one. The contrast between the base one, Phoenix, and this one, but I like that. So that was nice as well. Corsair Quinn. Right, so I've seen this before, this skin before. On the left hand side here is definitely Aatrox. This guy here, I'm sure I've reviewed already. For some reason, I think it's set, but it's not. It might be Gangplank. And this here is Quinn. Cool, I like that one. Heartseeker, nice. We've seen a couple of Heartseekers now. I think there was a Heartseeker Lucian, and there was also a Heartseeker Fiora, I think, as well. But yeah, that was nice. I like that one. And then Warden Quinn. So, now this is basically Kale. This is that is literally, without the face, that is Kale. The look, the colours, the design, the wings in the background. Yeah, it's just an alternative version of Kale. But I like that one as well. So, if I had to go back to the top and just pick my favourite one after looking at them once, it would have to be Phoenix. Yeah, it just looks good. I like the look of Valor, and I really like the look of Quinn in this one as well. So yeah, Phoenix will be my favourite skin. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to the login theme. Let's go. Okay. It's definitely a Demacian theme. Definitely. Okay, some vocals. Okay, that was alright. You can definitely tell it's a Demacian theme. A lot of these Demacian themes have the same theme. They have the same underlying theme to it. I like at the beginning and also at the end, it starts off and ends with just the wind blowing, which ties in nicely with obviously her theme and Valar as well. The image is cool as well. I realised initially I thought Valar was just like perched on a branch, but he's actually on her arm, which is cool as well. No, okay, it was decent logging theme. It ain't no Aurelia. It ain't no Aurelia or Camille logging theme. But it's okay. It's decent. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to... In fact, I'm going to go through her abilities first. Because the spotlight's so old, I'm not going to go through that. I'll go through her abilities, then her story, and then we finish off with the actual spotlight. Let's go. Right, so this one's called Rules of Survival. Quinn waited for the Noxians to light a fire in the forest clearing and drink 2 wineskins. Drunk soldiers were easy to predict. She wanted them drunk enough to be stupid, but not reckless. Mistakes got you killed in the wilderness, and these men had just made 2 big ones. Lighting a fire told her they were overconfident. The wine that they were so sure no one was in pursuit. Rule 1. Always assume someone is after you. True. She eased herself through the mud on her belly, using her elbows to pull herself towards a hollowed out rotten log at the edge of the clearing. The rain had turned the forest into a quagmire, and she'd spent the next few hours picking bugs and worms from her clothes. Rule 2. Survival never takes place in dignity. Careful not to look directly at the campfire and lose her night sight, she counted 5 men, 1 less than expected. I've got a feeling this guy's going to reappear in the 6th. Here, where was the 6th man? Quinn started to ease herself upright, but froze as the hair stood upon the back of her neck, a warning from above. A sharp move from behind a tree in the darkness. A warrior, armoured in boiled black leather, moving with skill. The man paused, scanning the darkness, his hand never leaving the wire wound around his hilt of his sword. Round hilt of his sword. Had he seen her? She didn't think so. Here, Verdin, called one of the men seated around the fire. Better hurry if you want any of this. Old Mendo's drinking it all. Rule 3. Stay silent. The man cursed and Quinn smiled at his office frustration. Quiet, he hissed. I think they've heard you back at Bloody Noxus. There's no one out here, Verdin. The Demacians are probably too busy buckling on their armour and giving it a polish to bother with coming after us. Come on, take a drink. It's clear that they've stole something or they've taken something. The man sighed and turned back to the fire with a weary shrug. Quinn let out a slow breath. That one had some talent, but he too believed they were alone in the wilderness. Rule 4. Don't let stupid people drag you down to their level. Quinn smiled and glanced up, seeing the smudge of night blue darkness on her eagle companion against the rain clouds. Valar dipped its wings and Quinn nodded, their wireless communication refined over many years together. She circled her right fist, then raised 3 fingers, knowing Valar could see her perfectly and would understand. Rule 5. When it's time to act, do it decisively. Okay. Quinn knew that they should take these men out quietly and without fuss, but the affront of Noxians this deep in Demacia was galling. She wanted these men to know who exactly who had caught them, and that Demacia was not some primitive tribal culture to be crushed by Noxian ambition. The decision made, she pushed herself to her feet, strode into the campsite as if being there was the most natural thing in the world. She stood at the edge of the firelight, her hood raised and her oiled storm cloak drawn tightly around her. Give me what you stole and no one has to die tonight, said Quinn, nodding towards a leather satchel stitched within the winged sword symbol of Demacia. The Noxians scrambled upright, blinking as they scanned the edge of the forest. They fumbled to draw their swords, and Quinn almost laughed at their surprised ineptitude. The one who'd almost walked right over her hid his shock well, but relaxed as he realised she was alone. You're a long way from home, girl, he said, raising his sword. Not as far as you, Verdin. She used his name. He frowned, put on the back foot by her using his name. Quinn saw his mind working as he tried to figure out how much more she knew. She kept her cloak pulled tightly as the men spread out, surrounding her. Give me the satchel, said Quinn, a note of boredom in her voice. Take her, shouted Verdin. It was the last thing, he said. Quinn swept her coat back over her shoulder and lifted her left arm. A black shafted bolt from her Reaper crossbow buried itself in Verdin's eye, and he fell without a sound. A second bolt tore into the chest of the man to his left. The remaining 4 came at her in a rush. A screeching cry split the night, as Valor swept down in a lightning bolt from the clear sky. His wings boomed as he spread them wide and swung around in a scathing arc. Hooked claws tore the face of one Oxian, and the eagle's slashing beak clove the skull of the soldier next to him. Valor don't play no games. The third Oxian managed to raise his weapon, but Valor sank his claws into his shoulder and bore him to the ground. The eagle's beak slashed down, and the man's struggles ceased instantly. The last Noxian turned and sprinted for the trees. Makes sense. If you have to fight, kill quickly. Quinn knelt and loosened a pair of bolts from her crossbow. They hammered into the Noxian's back and burst from his chest. He managed to reach the edge of the trees before pitching forward and lying still. Quinn remained motionless, listening to the sound of the wilderness, making sure there was no other enemies nearby. The only sounds she heard were those she'd expected to hear in the forest at night. She stood and Valor flew over to her, the satchel of military dispatches the Noxians had stolen held in his claws. He dropped it and she caught it with her free hand, looping it over her shoulder in one smooth motion. Valor perched on her arm, his body rippling with the thrill of the hunt. His claws and beak were red with blood. The eagle's head cocked to the side and his gold-flecked eyes glittering with amusement. She grinned, her bond with the bird so strong she already understood his thoughts. I was wondering that too, said Quinn. How did these Noxians get this far into Demacia? The eagle gave a shrill screech, let's say, and she nodded in agreement. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, said Quill. South it is. Rule 7. Trust you can rely on your partner. Right, okay, nice. Nice to see the adventures of Quinn and Valor. And yeah, Valor does not play no games. He definitely doesn't take any prisoners. That was grim. The guy was ripping her eyes, you know what I mean, chewing into the skull, everything. Mad. But yeah, that was good. Good to go through that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to the actual spotlight. That's what I'm going to be doing next for Magic Use Fly. Let's go.
The League of Legends actual champion spotlight featuring
Let's go.
Quinn.
Let's
that
go.
one champion that Riot came out with and completely forgot about.
Valor.
You want to be derp? Fucking play Quinn. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Quinn and Valor.
Valor. Valor. Valor. Valor.
Surely it doesn't sound like that when you play her. Surely.
Valor. 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 Valor.
B, shut the fuck up. People say she isn't viable, and it's true. But people say she is. If you don't give a fuck about the game, your teammates, or your friendships, and like playing champions like Galio, Mordekaiser, or Yorick, then Quinn is the attack, damage, sometimes scary if you're fed enough marksman for you. But you could just call it what the fuck, play someone else for short. I mean, Riot hasn't completely forgot about her since she has a skin and not Zac, even though they came out with fucking chroma skins and they can't recolor someone who is completely green.
Whoa.
Here, use this. You're
Really?
fucking welcome. She's like the ADC Riot made so that assassin mains can play a ranged champion since she could turn into a bird and all over your enemy. Quinn's ult isn't good for an ADC. Yeah, well, sucks to suck, nerd. If I'm playing Quinn, I don't give a flying shit about what an ADC does, seeing as my attack range is as short as Tarek, whatever the fuck you call him. So you go into lane and pray to the league gods the enemy is a couple of potatoes and lets you get your level 2 power spike. Well, it's not really a power spike, it's more of like a level 2 bump or small hill. And then you just Q, auto, E, and then auto again to win a trade. So here's the question that everyone asks. Do you play her mid, top, or ADC? And here's the answer. ADC. Why? Because there's 2 people you can kill down there instead of 1. And if you're playing Quinn, you have to get fed as fuck or else the game is going to go down the drain just like Shia LaBeouf's career.
Whoa.
I'm pretty sure we can kill these guys. Come on.
Do it! Just do it! Some people dream of success while you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Yes, you can! Just do it!
Oh wow, you did that. Oh fuck.
Whoa, Azir. Is that Azir? Oi.
Fucking ground.
Azir don't
Your
play
passive is
games.
Harrier. Valor
Oi.
comes down and marks an enemy, making them what Riot says as vulnerable. When you attack a vulnerable target, you deal 50% bonus attack damage to the enemy, and this is what makes Quinn so bursty since she can win trades off of it. But this is so fucking unreliable. Sometimes you'll auto a champion and as the attack is flying, if Harrier pops up on them, it doesn't consume the mark, which is bullshit. Sometimes you'll use your E and as you're flying towards the enemy, Harrier will pop up and you'll waste it, which is bullshit. Sometimes your Harrier will go on the 5 billion health Nautilus and not on Jinx, which is bullshit. It's like Valor is a fucking troll trying to make you rage quit for picking this champ. Quinn's Q is Blinding Assault. You throw your bird in a line to gouge out your enemy's eyes and blind them, which is fucking savage. This skill is your biggest asset since it allows you to trade against any ADC as long as you land it. Riot says that a bird that you throw to gouge out your enemy's eyes to momentarily blind them because he's digging his talons into their eyes is okay, but Graves can't have a fucking cigar. I love how this skin can be in the game, but
So
fucking Graves can't have a cigar. Like, come on. Like, Katarina has a fucking, like, a skin where she's barely wearing anything, but Graves can't have a goddamn cigar. Julian hasn't played Ahri since the rework, but Graves still can't have a goddamn cigar. Like, Vayne can kill me, but Graves can't have a cigar.
Bart can be in the game, but
Graves can't have a goddamn cigar. Quinn's W is Heightened Senses. When you attack a vulnerable enemy, you'll get a small boost of attack speed. When activated, it grants vision in its range. Pairing this with a scrying orb, you can get a lot of temporary vision for your team, but why use Quinn when Ashe can do the same job, but safer and better? But you know what? Fuck it. Quinn's a good champion, right? Right! Vault is your E and is the only way to get a guaranteed Harrier mark at the time that you need it. You jump to your enemy and then reposition yourself at your max attack range. It also applies a slow and a small knockback so you can get some nice plays interrupting channeled spells or getting away from a game. What's bullshit is that you're still targetable when you use this spell. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Uh-oh.
Why am I stunned? Tag team is your ult, where you change to Valor and let him do your fighting for you because
There we
that's
go.
what an ADC likes. Someone doing all the work for them and then they just throw out an auto attack to pick up the kill. You gain a massive amount of movement speed and permanent attack speed thanks to your W's passive. Your spells also get changed. Your Q now deals its damage plus it's blind in an area around you instead of in a line. Your W still only grants you vision, and your E now just makes you dash towards your enemy, still applying a slow and a knockup.
Wait.
You can also press your ult a second time to activate Sky Strike. You deal AoE damage that increases by 1% for each 1% of health the enemy is missing. As Quinn, you're literally a fucking suicide bomber. Go in and take out 1 to 2 people while probably dying immediately afterwards because you're in a bad position. And
Suicide
there you go,
bomber.
that's how you play Quinn. But Magikarp, Quinn is my main, she's so good. Yeah, well, if I main Galio, then I could say that, yeah, he's good too. But you know what? In reality, Quinn is unreliable. You wanna play her top? Go ahead. Pretty sure people will hate you just as much as they hate people who play Vayne top or fucking Teemo. How about this? Let's change Quinn's auto attacks to be like Vayne's Silver Bolts, where every third auto attack, the Harrier comes down so you can consume the mark. At least then she can actually scale better into the late game and not get her bird face fucked by a Maokai or Scion. Trust me, I'm a level 5 bird watching Quinn main. What the fuck am I doing with my life? Squeeze.
Okay, that was good. That was a good ending. Always good to end with the actual spotlight for a champion as well. And this one was for Quinn. So yeah, I think I'll leave it here today, guys, on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed my thoughts and reactions to the champion Quinn, her story, her bio, the review of her skins, her login theme, and also the actual spotlight as well. And if you did, feel free to let me know. Feel free to like, comment, or maybe also subscribe if you've not done so already. I will be continuing with this theme of going through Demacian champions. I'm not going to say who's next week. You'll have to tune in next Thursday to find out, but it will be a Demacian champion. Let's just say that. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.